Yo, the music industry is very competitive, and because everyone wants that #1 spot, a friendly competition can turn friends into foes. Two of music's biggest pop stars, Drake and Taylor Swift, have quietly been beefing. These are artists that break records every time they drop music and take over the charts, and leave the industry shook like Mobb Deep. Taylor Swift, who became a billionaire strictly off the back of her music, which is crazy and unheard of. Michael Jackson, who has the biggest album ever with Thriller, didn't even reach that pinnacle. To put in perspective, Jay-Z, Kanye, Rihanna had to venture out and do other things to reach that billionaire status. And Drake, who signed the biggest deal across any genre of music for $400 million and has broken several records by the Beatles, including most top 5 hits and most top 10 hits in a year. These artists are both well accomplished, so why are they beefing? Between these two fan bases, I might get put on the back of a milk carton after this video, so consider subscribing. The year was 2013 at the MTV Video Music Awards, where both Drake and Taylor Swift were nominated. Taylor would show up harboring some resentment for Harry Styles. She was nominated for Best Female Video and Video of the Year for her song I Knew You Were Trouble. She was eager to win after her breakup with Harry Styles. Drake would be nominated for Best Hip Hop Video and for Best Direction for Started From the Bottom. He wouldn't win that night, but he would perform. Taylor Swift, who would win for Best Female Video and would dedicate her win to her ex Harry Styles, who broke her heart, calling him out on stage. She was like, yeah, bitch, talking to you, the one sitting only a couple feet away chewing his gum.
I also want to thank the person who inspired this song, who knows exactly who he is, because now I got one of these. Thank you so much.
This will be Drake's and Taylor Swift's first time seen together and will be known as the first time they met, allegedly. But I don't believe this is the first time. It was speculated they met beforehand, and how they were embracing was not of two people who just met. It was said that they hugged and held hands while they were catching up like they're great friends. So it seems as if they did meet before Miley Cyrus violated that foam finger. Now, if we go back 2 years earlier in 2011, Drake added Taylor Swift in a tweet saying, "I'm so proud of you." I would assume because her Red album was a big success and is regarded as one of her best projects to this day. And in 2014, the Drake effect would become apparent, and he would become rap's hottest cosign, with features helping lead 9 songs to the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. His verses on songs like Tanaje's 2 On and I Love McConaughey's Grammy-nominated Tuesday boosted both on the Hot 100. And as his career continued to grow, so did Taylor Swift, dropping 1989 at the end of October, becoming her biggest selling album. This is one of the reasons why no one drops when Taylor Swift does, because she will likely overshadow them and bully them on the charts and could affect their position, because she does such massive numbers, and Drake respects her for that. That's why I call her OG Taylor Swiftie. But it will become an apparent theme for Taylor Swift and Drake to show mutual respect and admiration for one another. In 2016, Taylor and Drake's relationship would peak in the eyes of the public. On April 1st, Taylor Swift appeared on an ad for Apple Music running on a treadmill, singing along to Drake and Future's hit Jumpman.
They just spent like 2 or 3 weeks out the country. Them boys up to something, they just not just loving.
Taylor Swift gave Drake that Swiftie special. The commercial led to the song going from number 32 to number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100, and downloads of the track increased by 194%. And this only comes after Taylor Swift called out Apple Music because she took offense that Apple Music had not decided when it launched its music streaming service to pay artists if their songs were listened to during the 3-month trial period. Taylor Swift said, nah, bruh. She threatened not to put her album 1989, which was the biggest album out at the time, on Apple's platform. They changed their minds so quick and put out they would pay the artist. Like I said, OG Taylor Swiftie. The relationship between Drake and Taylor would take a different turn at Drake's 30th birthday party, where Taylor would show up. Again, a place where Taylor were around people she just didn't like, with Katy Perry and John Mayer, so she was already a little put off. But when Taylor was at this party, Drake would take care of her, make sure she's accommodated, make her feel comfortable. So much so, it was said that her and Drake were very close and friendly, obviously flirting. They would hang out all night, giving her and her friends that VIP treatment. The only person she was hanging out with just as much as Drake was his mother. Drake would introduce her to his close friends, and all this was enough for people to have an uproar and say Drake and Taylor are dating, OMG, but it wasn't true. She was in a relationship with Joe Alwyn at the time. Good actor, but boring actor. And almost a month later, moments after winning an American Music Award for his album Views, Drake would return the favor for Taylor Swift. Apple Music premiered a commercial where Drake is seen working out, and once his homie leaves, his alter ego, Anita Max Win starts blasting Taylor Swift's Bad Blood.
No mercy.
No mercy this year. Let's get it.
Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad
Drake and Taylor Swift would be rumored to have worked together in 2017 on Taylor's Reputation album, but no music was ever released. Their relationship would seem more one-sided in 2018, with Taylor Swift publicly acknowledging Drake, but he would never return the favor for a while. And she's the bigger artist, like picking him to win over her and Ed Sheeran at the AMAs.
Hey Taylor, the AMA nominations just came out. It's me, you, and Drake. You're gonna win.
Drake's gonna win.
Drake's gonna win. Yeah.
Taylor Swift would win though, and multiple at that, including Artist of the Year, Tour of the Year, and Favorite Pop Rock Album for Reputation. The AMAs was on the 9th. Drake became co-owners with Taylor Swift's enemy, Scooter Braun, by the 23rd. Drake and Scooter invested and became co-owners of the esports organization 100 Thieves. But this didn't stop Taylor from showing her appreciation to Drake in 2019 when she posed for the cover of Entertainment Weekly rocking a jean jacket with pins all over it, including a Drake pin with various other pins. Her interview with Entertainment Weekly, she expressed how she loved Drake's one-liners. She said, like when he said, "You say I led you on, but you followed me." Or like when he said, "This a rollie, not a stopwatch, shit don't never stop." And then she took it to X, saying that she wanted to represent as many things, people I love on this jacket. She's showing how much she holds Drake in a high regard, even mentioning him on her song I Forgot That You Existed, saying, "And my feelings more than Drake, so yeah." After failed acknowledgement, their relationship took an obvious turn, because a few months back in June of 2019, Taylor was going through hardship with her ex-label. She found out, just like everyone else, that Ithaca Holdings acquired Big Machine Records, which was Taylor's label for 13 years. In a $300 million deal, which included Taylor's catalog, Ithaca Holdings is owned by no other than Taylor's enemy, Scooter Braun. And saying that Taylor was hurt by this is an understatement. She actually penned a letter on Tumblr where it shows her complete and utter disdain for this guy, and why Drake being cool with him publicly may have left a sour taste in her mouth. She posted, "When I left my masters in Scott's hands, I made peace with the fact that eventually he would sell them. Never in my worst nightmares did I imagine the buyer would be Scooter. Anytime Scott Borchetta has heard the word Scooter Braun escape my lips, it was when I was either crying or trying not to. He knew what he was doing. They both did. Controlling a woman who didn't want to be associated with them in perpetuity. That means forever." However, in 2020, Braun's Ithaca Holdings sold Taylor Swift's masters to Shamrock Capital for $300 million, technically getting his money back. What could have been millions he left on the table, he gained a lifetime supply of hate from the Swifties. That didn't mean anything to Drake though, because he would continue to make up with another one of Taylor's enemies, Kanye West, in 2021, even though he did that shit for Jay Prince. When you see someone you considered a great friend at one point getting close to all your enemies and ones who caused great heartache for her, Kanye did more than just ruin her moment at the VMAs. The relationship between Taylor Swift and Drake was over with. By 2020, Taylor Swift would release 2 surprise albums 4 months apart, with Folklore in August and Evermore in December. Folklore being her 7th #1 album on Billboard 200 and Evermore being her 8th. If you search these 2 albums, you'll see Swifties online arguing about which is better. In 2021, Drake would release Certified Lover Boy, which went #1 on Billboard 200. Both Drake and Taylor Swift at this time was just dominating the charts and breaking records. But 3 years later, after ignoring Taylor's advances, Taylor would return the favor in 2022 when Drake would post a never seen before photo of them together on his Instagram that was taken during Taylor's 1989 era. It sparked conversation about a potential collaboration by the fans. But what they don't know is Taylor isn't with this guy, and that rumor would be put to bed when Drake would drop Her Loss on November 4th, about 2 weeks after Taylor Swift dropped her album Midnight. Her Loss replaced Midnight on the charts after spending 2 weeks at #1, and Drake would post the Hot 100 Billboard where he was salty that 7 songs from Her Loss were at the top of the charts except for 1 song that was at #1 for 3 weeks with Anti-Hero. Taylor was keeping him from that #1 spot, so when he posted the Billboard, he decided to cover her name up with emojis. Taylor was not acknowledging his advances. Even when he dropped Scary Hours 3 in 2023, he mentioned her on Red Button, saying, "Taylor Swift the only nigga that I ever rated. Only one could make me drop an album just a little later." 2024 and 2025 has been one of the greatest years in hip-hop history. A year that OG Taylor Swiftie would passive-aggressively finally acknowledge she doesn't like Drake. She released her album, The Tortured Poets Department, April 19th, 2024, and Drake would release Push Ups hours later, even though the track leaked a week prior. During Drake's battle with Kendrick Lamar, he would use Taylor as a weapon to win the beef, mentioning her on 2 different songs, Push Ups Push-Ups and Taylor Made on Push-Ups in a way to discredit him as an artist, pretty much saying that the label is forcing him to do music outside of hip-hop, insinuating he has no creative control. Rapping from the perspective of Top Dawg, saying, Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties. And in Drake's efforts to taunt Kendrick to drop a response track, Drake dropped a record called Taylor Made, which is named after and referenced Taylor Swift. He suggested in the song that Kendrick is waiting to drop the diss track because Taylor just dropped an album and likely to take over the charts, saying that Taylor is Kendrick's new top, which again he's referring to the CEO of Top Dawg, and how Taylor Swift is controlling when Kendrick drops because we know she would top the charts and that may be controlling when Kendrick drops the record. Taylor Swift and her producer Jack Antonoff has a good close relationship. He produced multiple projects, being responsible for some of Taylor's greatest records, and he would indirectly verify Taylor's support of Kendrick when he produced 616 in LA, and would produce 11 out of the 12 tracks on GNX, and would actually troll Drake himself for suing Universal while giving his acceptance speech at Variety's Hitmakers Brunch.
I wrote a bunch of notes. I'd like to announce I'm suing Universal. That's a pretty good joke, you fuckers. What happened to you people? You can leave.
While Drake mentions Taylor, Kendrick didn't mention her, but would drop multiple tracks. But his one hit, Not Like Us, at the 2025 Grammys, was nominated for 5 categories, including Song of the Year and Record of the Year, while Taylor Swift would be nominated for 6 categories. Kendrick swept all 5 categories, and Taylor lost every category. Upon Kendrick heading to the stage to accept the award, they played Not Like Us, and they knew the exact moment to play it, and Taylor was dancing her ass off. I don't think she cared she lost all 6 categories. She was very excited and loud all night, truly humble, even though every other person that lost was about to have a meltdown. But when that A minor part went off, the whole crowd sung along. It's safe to say that Drake won't be mentioning her in any more music unless he's dissing her. Taylor dancing at the Grammys let everyone know whose side she's on, and that she hasn't liked Drake for a while. Now I'm sure Taylor is added to the op list.